It's amazing how powerful words are, right? Like, have you ever stopped to think how just one tiny choice, one word, can completely change the message you send or how it feels? It really can make a huge difference in how we connect. So, okay, let's unpack this today. We're doing a deep dive into boosting our everyday language. Specifically, we're focusing on vocabulary, finding ways to be more precise, more impactful. And this whole idea, it actually came from a really interesting source. It's a YouTube video by English with Lucy. And what's cool is this specific video happened because a viewer, someone called Musically Vibes, asked her to focus on vocab. Right at the core of it is this thing she calls the very challenge. She points out why very is often, maybe a word to use less, especially in formal stuff.
Yeah.
Because it can sound a bit weak. It kind of waters down the adjective.
It does, yeah. It's like a crutch sometimes.
Exactly. Though, Lucy does say, take it with a pinch of salt. It's not like a hard rule you can never break.
Right.
But it's really about nudging us towards stronger language choices, more vivid ones. So our mission today, for you listening, is pretty straightforward. We want to give you a kind of shortcut, a way to get a more vibrant, more precise vocabulary. We'll offer some powerful alternatives, words that can really transform how you describe things. And this is where it gets really interesting.
It really is, because what's fascinating here is the linguistic nuance, right? It's not just about sounding clever or, more formal. It's about for, say, furious, you're actually often refining your own understanding of that specific feeling. It sharpens your perception, maybe even helps you make clearer distinctions in your head.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, sharpening perception. And Lucy, in the video, she really demonstrates this. She goes through like over 100 common phrases, very, plus an adjective, and then gives, I think it was more than 200 stronger words, synonyms or alternatives, words that just carry more weight, more specificity. It's like a language upgrade pack. Let's maybe look at a few examples just to show the kind of impact. So for intensity, emotion, instead of very angry, you've got options like furious, livid, enraged. You instantly feel a difference there, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. They paint different pictures. Livid feels almost colder, more contained, maybe.
Right, while furious sounds more outward.
Yeah.
More explosive.
Exactly. It's about those shades of meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Or take very happy. Fine, everyone understands it. But ecstatic, overjoyed, elated, that tells you so much more about the kind of happiness.
Totally. And very scared becomes terrified or petrified.
And petrified has that sense of being frozen, right? Unable to move. Very scared. Just doesn't quite get that across.
And it's not just feelings. It works for descriptions, too. Making things clearer visually.
Yeah.
Like very beautiful. Okay, but what about gorgeous, stunning, exquisite?
Exquisite really suggests something delicate and perfect.
Yeah, or magnificent. That brings in a sense of grandeur, scale. It's more than just pretty.
It really is. Even something simple like very dirty. You could use filthy or maybe grimy for surfaces, or dilapidated if you're talking about a building falling apart.
Or squalid, which suggests a kind of unpleasant neglect.
Each one gives a specific image. It's the same with very cold becoming bitter, icy, freezing, different sensations.
Or how about intelligence? Very clever is okay,
but intelligent is more standard. Maybe sharp suggests quickness.
And astute. I like that one. It implies like keen insight, doesn't it? Practical smarts.
Definitely. And ingenious for creative problem solving.
But there's very full. You could say overflowing, crammed, packed.
Right. You immediately get a picture of how full. Is it bursting at the seams or just tightly arranged?
And for actions or impact, very difficult.
Yeah, it could be complex if it's intricate. Or demanding if it takes a lot of effort.
Or arduous.
Yeah.
That really suggests a struggle, a long, hard slog.
It does. And very fast could be rapid or swift. Just a bit punchier.
What about heat? Very hot.
Lots there. Burning, scalding, blistering, scorching.
Each one paints a different picture of extreme heat, from uncomfortable to dangerous.
And even the really common ones, like very good.
We say that all the time, but superb, excellent, outstanding. They just mean more.
They do. They add weight to your praise.
Very interesting. Could be fascinating, compelling, riveting. Words that pull you in.
And Lucy even suggests things like nifty or handy for very useful.
Right. They're more casual maybe, but they feel really direct.
Yeah.
Practical, just more alive. So, okay, bringing this back to you listening right now.
Yeah.
Why should you care?
Yeah.
Why does this matter in your life? Well, it's really about clarity, isn't it? making a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And just having a richer way to express yourself, not just when you speak or write, but even in how you think about things.
Yeah.
It kind of sharpens your internal world.
Yeah, that's a really key point. How does this precision actually pay off for someone? Because like you said, it's not just for essays or big speeches. When you have this wider range of words, this bigger palette, you can articulate your own thoughts and feelings more accurately, even just talking to friends or family.
That's true.
And you can maybe better understand the nuances in what other people are saying to you. It could even boost your empathy, maybe, your ability to connect.
That connection point feels really important. And the source video mentions other benefits too. Beyond just knowing more words, it actually helps with pronunciation because you're practicing different sounds. And it sharpens your listening skills overall. You start noticing these words more.
And that makes sense. You tune your ear differently.
Yeah. And she suggests listening to audiobooks, maybe while reading the actual book too, as a way to absorb new words in context, which is great because you can do it while, commuting or whatever. Multitasking.
A very handy tip. Nifty, even.
Exactly. See? So, okay, what's the main takeaway here? This deep dive really shows, I think, the power you gain when you consciously try to move past generics like very, when you embrace adjectives that are more precise, more impactful. So here's a little challenge for you. This week, just start noticing. Notice when you say very or when you write it, and then just experiment. Try swapping it out for one or two of these stronger words we talked about. Even just one makes a difference. It's an easy way to start elevating your language right away.
Yeah, and if we zoom out for a second, connect it to the bigger picture, language is just fundamental, isn't it? It's how we think, how we communicate. So mastering these nuances, even small ones like ditching very, it gives you more control, more precision in getting your unique thoughts and feelings across. It's almost like a hidden advantage in communication.
A quiet superpower. I like that.
Yeah. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Just consider how one carefully chosen adjective can paint a much clearer picture or spark a stronger emotion or convey a deeper meaning than just sticking a very in front of a basic word. It's about making your words not just, understood, but really felt, remembered. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Really glad you could join us. Our mission, like always, is to take your sources, pull out the really important dits, and basically give you a shortcut to feeling well-informed. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some fascinating English expressions. They're super common, but actually pretty advanced when you look closely. And what's cool is our source material is it's from a real chat between two native speakers, Dan and Vanessa. So you get a genuine peek at how this stuff is actually used. So the question we're kind of exploring is this: how do these phrases, which seem simple on the surface, add all this, nuance, humor, and depth to conversations? And maybe more importantly, what do they tell us about how we really communicate beyond just the words themselves?
Exactly. And it's not just about learning definitions, is it? We're really trying to unpack the psychology behind them, maybe some cultural context too. The idea is to help you connect the dots, understand why certain phrases stick, why they feel so right in everyday chat.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this then. Let's start with phrases that shape sort of the flow of conversation, how we manage what we say, and how it lands. First up, to go on about something. This basically means talking a lot about one topic, maybe a bit too long from the listener's point of view. It often implies a slightly negative take. Like Dan mentioned, his grandma would go on about lots of stories from her farm days, not having electricity, stuff like that. And, well, I could definitely go on about my love for classic sci-fi novels all day long, probably too long.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That phrase captures that fine line, that balance between real passion and, maybe oversharing a bit. It points to that unspoken conversational rule, that sense that maybe you're pushing it a little.
That's a good way to put it. And speaking of managing conversation, sometimes we jump the gun, which brings us to get ahead of yourself. It just means talking about something too early or out of order. In the original chat, Vanessa actually says, "Oh, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's slow down."
When they were talking about family trees, I think, you know the feeling, right? Like you're telling a story excitedly, and then you stop and say, wait, I'm getting out of myself. Let me back up.
And what's useful there is it's kind of a built-in correction mechanism. It's like hitting pause verbally so you can get the story straight and make sure the listener isn't lost, keeps things clear. Yeah, definitely keeps things clear. Okay, so some phrases are powerful because they create these really vivid mental images. Let's jump into those. Think about to scrub out. I mean, literally, you scrub a dirty pan, right, to get rid of burnt stuff. But metaphorically, wow, it's strong. Dan's family trying to scrub out a lot of German-sounding things back in the 30s to 50s, changing their name slightly because of the war.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Erasure. Or more commonly today, you might hear, I just want to scrub out all the bad memories from, 2020, meaning just erase them completely.
It is profound, actually. It taps into that deep human thing, that desire for a clean slate, to just wipe something away. And connecting it to history, like with Dan's family, shows how language reflects these big struggles, these attempts to maybe rewrite a narrative. It's more than forgetting. It's active removal.
That's fascinating. And sticking with strong visuals, what about to drill in a point? The literal image is clear, right? A drill, putting a screw into wood, makes it stay put. Metaphorically, it's about emphasizing an idea so it really, really sticks. Vanessa and Dan used it, saying something like, this will really drill in the point that Dan loves catching critters, after he told a story about catching a toad as a kid. Or, I had this English teacher, fantastic guy, who would act out Shakespeare scenes. He really knew how to drill in the point of the themes. You never forgot them.
That's a great example. Drill in suggests effort, doesn't it? Persistence. It acknowledges that sometimes ideas need reinforcement, maybe repetition, to really land and be remembered. It implies making sure the message gets through emphatically.
Right, it's definitely emphatic. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How about phrases dealing with life's commitments, looking back, and those little flickers of emotion? Let's look at to sign up for something, but metaphorically. Not joining a gym, but committing to something without maybe knowing the full picture. Dan joked about Vanessa not knowing what she was signing up for marrying him because he's so into catching critters, even apparently on their honeymoon.
Huh. Well, that's relatable, isn't it? We've all been there. The phrase perfectly captures that gap between what we expect and, well, the reality that unfolds. Whether it's marriage, a new job, life often gives you more than you bargained for.
So true. And then there's to come full circle. Such a nice phrase. It means returning to a starting point, completing a loop, like 360 degrees. Vanessa shared how she loved playing in the dirt as a kid, stopped as a teen, then got back into gardening as an adult. She said she'd really come full circle. Yeah. We see it in fashion too, right? Like high-waisted jeans are back. Yeah. Style definitely comes full circle.
Mm-hmm. And that phrase makes you think, doesn't it? About cycles, how life, trends, even our own interests can loop back around. But maybe when they come back, there's a new perspective, a different layer of understanding. It suggests completion, but also recurrence.
Yeah, that's a great point. And for those really subtle feelings, we have a twinge of something. Dan mentioned seeing a twinge of regret in her eye. Talking about a farmer and the hard work of milking cows twice a day, every day. Just a little hint of feeling. You might feel a twinge of envy hearing about a friend's vacation, maybe. Or a twinge of regret for skipping dessert. Just a small, quick feeling.
Twinge is great because it captures something almost subconscious, maybe involuntary, a little flicker. It shows how language can be so precise about these fleeting, maybe even slightly hidden emotions that bubble up, gives insight into the unspoken.
Definitely. Okay, moving on to how we sort of assess people or explain our own actions. First, to size up someone. This means quickly evaluating them, their skills, their intentions, maybe their status. Like rock climbers at a gym, sizing each other up, checking out gear, seeing who looks experienced. Or Dan's more dramatic example, a bear in the woods sizing me up to see if he could eat me. Hopefully hypothetical. Or, I sized up my competition at the hot dog eating contest. Just checking them out.
It points to something pretty fundamental, I think. The human tendency to quickly assess others. It can be for competition, like you said, or caution, or even figuring out who to team up with. It's about rapidly understanding your social landscape.
Right. And then there's to justify something. Giving a reason, especially for something that might seem a bit extravagant or questionable. Like people justifying buying expensive property by calling it an investment, even if maybe they just wanted a bigger place. Or personally trying to justify buying a piano by saying, oh, I'll definitely learn to play. Knowing deep down, probably not going to happen.
Yes. It highlights that psychological need we have to make our decisions seem rational, especially big ones involving money or effort. It's about those internal conversations we have, trying to make things fit, reduce that cognitive dissonance.
Exactly. And for moments needing a bit more grace, we have to cut someone some slack.
Mm-hmm.
Ever played board games with someone really strict about the rules? You just want to say, hey, relax. Cut me some slack. It's just a game.
But it's also about empathy, right? I cut my students some slack because I know things are tough at home. being less strict because you understand.
It's a really important phrase for interpersonal stuff. It champions flexibility, understanding, empathy. It pushes back against rigid rules and favors, seeing the human side of things, considering the circumstances. Yeah, it's about being human. Okay, let's wrap up with a couple that feel very contemporary, reflecting how language changes. First, for lack of a better word, Vanessa used this describing a cancer fighting. A tiny robot, for lack of a better word. She knew it wasn't a technical term, but it got the idea across. Or that amazing idea of trees that, for lack of a better word, talk to each other through roots. It lets you simplify something complex when the perfect word isn't there or isn't known.
It's incredibly practical, isn't it? It's a communication tool. It allows us to keep the conversation flowing and convey meaning, even if we don't have the precise jargon. It signals, this isn't perfect, but you get the gist, which fosters clarity.
Totally. And finally, when everyone knows, to Google something. It's just become a verb, hasn't it? For searching online, we all say, oh, I need to fix the sink, I'll Google it. Or I Google gardening tips all the time. Or deciding on a trip, I Googled top vacation spots for 2022. It's just how we find information now.
It absolutely is. And that phrase is a perfect snapshot of how technology fundamentally changes our behavior, and then our language follows suit. It shows how dynamic language is, constantly adapting to our world. A brand name becoming a common verb. That's evolution right there.
Wow. Okay. That was quite the journey through everyday English. This deep dive really shows how much richness and, well, surprising depth is packed into phrases we use all the time. And remember, our whole goal here is to give you that shortcut, help you feel truly well-informed.
Yeah, and hopefully you've got a better feel now, not just for what these expressions mean, but how they work in conversation, how they add color, precision. Understanding that really does help you communicate more effectively, more confidently.
So here's a final thought to chew on, connecting back to what we discussed. Now that you've maybe got a deeper feel for these phrases, what's a subtle twinge, using the phrase, what's a twinge of realization you've had about your own communication style? Or maybe about how others around you talk? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining this deep dive.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're taking a real plunge into the words you use every single day.
Right. Not just definitions, but the real feel of everyday English vocabulary.
Exactly. We've got this fantastic collection of common words, common phrases, and our mission really is to peel back those layers. We want to uncover the surprising bits, the nuances.
Well, and give you those practical insights, those aha moments.
Yes, those aha moments that make things click. Think of it as, a shortcut to really getting daily English, feeling confident, feeling well-informed. Let's unpack this.
Absolutely. We're definitely going beyond just, memorizing lists. We're looking at how these words actually work in the real world.
How they function, yeah.
What tiny differences separate them, and how knowing those little things helps you build a much clearer picture in your head, a better mental map of the world and the people in it.
That sounds like a seriously powerful tool. And speaking of mapping the world, let's kick things off with our first segment. Navigating your environment, places, travel, and daily commute.
Makes sense. It's foundational, isn't it?
Totally. It's all about how language helps us understand, our physical surroundings, how we move through them day to day.
It really is. Think about arriving somewhere new. First thing you do is try to figure out the layout, right?
Right.
Knowing the right words for places, how to get from A to B. That's step one to actually navigating, not just sort of stumbling around.
Okay, so let's talk public spaces.
Mm-hmm.
The sources bring up park. Now, a park isn't just grass, is it? It suggests something more.
Definitely. It implies a social element, a place for the community, for relaxing, maybe exercise, shared use.
Yeah, a public space for interaction, which feels different from, say, a private garden or a wild forest. You wouldn't usually set up a business meeting at a busy city park, right?
Not typically, no. That word park carries that public shared context, and then within a park, you might find a playground.
Ah, right. Specific purpose.
Exactly. The word tells you, this bit is for kids to play, often brightly colored, special equipment. And in cities, a pool, again, specific, a large sort of public bathtub-like place for swimming.
Community amenity. Got it.
These aren't just labels, they shape how you see and use the place.
That immediately gives you a picture of city life. Okay, sticking with cities, getting around means roads and traffic. The sources lay out a kind of hierarchy here. We start general with road.
Road is pretty broad. Anything you travel on, usually car, bike.
But then it gets more specific, like street. People use them interchangeably sometimes, but there's a difference, isn't there?
There often is, yeah. A street usually feels more urban, maybe residential shops, houses alongside it. Think street smarts, city knowledge.
Right, whereas a highway, that feels different.
Totally different vibe. Speed, efficiency, often connecting cities or bypassing local areas. Above the city sometimes, it signals a different kind of travel.
That layering makes sense. And along these roads, we've got traffic lights or traffic signals, those red, yellow, green lights for safety.
Essential, yeah. And signs on the side of the road giving you information or commands, like a stop sign.
And where roads cross, that's an intersection.
A middle point, exactly, where paths meet.
Okay, so how do we travel on these roads or, above or below them? Modes of transport. The sources make a clear distinction between subway and train.
Yes, and that's a really useful one. A subway is typically underground. Think tunnels.
Whereas a train is usually above ground.
Generally, yes. Maybe traveling between cities or through the countryside above ground. Knowing that difference helps you mentally map out a city's transport. Are you going underground or seeing the sights?
It prepares you for the experience. That's good. Same with airplane or plane versus helicopter.
Right. One flies long distances, usually high up. The other has that distinctive propeller on top, often for shorter trips, different kinds of access. Very different visual, different function.
And for water, simply boat. Then the personal stuff. Car, motorcycle, scooter, bicycle. All about individual movement.
And to use the bigger systems, you need the hubs, a train station for trains,
And a bus stop for buses, just a designated spot along the route.
and to ride, you pay a fare, the cost, like bus fare or train fare.
Got it.
And honestly, knowing these specific names, it's not just about vocabulary, it's fundamental for getting around, understanding directions, even figuring out your budget, feeling integrated.
Which leads perfectly into those essential community places. Daily needs. If you need to buy something, you go to a store. Super general term.
Very general, yes.
But how do we nail down the difference between, say, a market and a supermarket?
Good question. A market often suggests something maybe outdoors or at least individual sellers. You might think local produce, crafts, that kind of feel.
More direct, maybe.
Perhaps. Whereas a supermarket immediately brings to mind a big indoor place. Aisles, shopping carts, a huge range of food and household stuff designed for efficiency, one-stop shopping.
A different shopping experience. Makes sense. Okay, beyond shopping, bank for
Yeah.
money,
Post office for sending mail.
and a library, which is more than just books now, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a community resource. Books, yes, but also DVDs, computers, internet, sometimes classes. It carries that sense of shared knowledge and resources.
Okay. For health, hospital for major care, pharmacy for picking up medicine,
Right. And if you want fresh bread or cakes,
a bakery with those amazing smells.
exactly. For entertainment, a movie theater or cinema, big screen experience.
Office is just a place of work. Police station, specifically for police officers. And then there's the convenience store.
Ah, yes. The name says it all, doesn't it? Small, easy access, quick snacks, daily basics. Its function is right there in the name.
Utility defined.
And knowing all these specific place names helps you understand not just where to go, but what happens there, what kind of interaction to expect. It builds that functional map.
Okay, so we've navigated the outside world. Let's move indoors. Time to shift focus to your personal space, the actions within it. We're going inside your home and daily routines.
Right. This is where language gets really close to home, literally. Describing your space, the things you use constantly, the actions you repeat every day.
So first, the building itself. You might live in a house, separate building, usually one family, maybe implies a bit more space, a garden.
Often, yes. Or you could be in an apartment, one unit, one set of rooms, inside a bigger building with other units, shared walls, common areas usually come with that.
Okay, and inside the rooms. Pretty standard stuff here.
Mostly, yes. Bedroom for sleeping, kitchen for cooking, bathroom for, well, the obvious bathing, toilet, universal functions.
What about relaxing spaces?
You've got the living room, generally for relaxing, watching TV, maybe socializing, often has a sofa, and then a dining room, which is specifically for eating meals, maybe suggests something a bit more formal than just eating in the kitchen.
And the bits connecting the rooms.
Those are your hallways, or just halls, passages inside. And of course, window, the glass thing for light and looking out. And a door to get in and out of rooms.
Basic architecture covered. Now, household items and chores. This is where the sources highlighted something really interesting words doing double duty as nouns and verbs, like takeout.
Oh, this is a fantastic point. A real aha. moment for learners. Take out can mean literally remove something, like take out the trash. Simple enough.
Right.
But it also has that specific meaning of getting food from a restaurant to eat somewhere else. Let's get takeout tonight. Context totally changes it.
That's brilliant. Shows how much English relies on context. Another one is clean.
Yep. Adjective. Is the room clean? Verb. Did you clean the room? Same with dry. Adjective. Is the paint dry? Verb. Dry your hair.
Or dust. The noun is the dirt itself. The verb is removing it.
Exactly. And vacuum. It's the machine and the action. I need to buy a new vacuum. Versus, can you vacuum the hallway?
Nice. Sweep is always the verb with a broom. But mop.
Mop is both. The tool you use and the action of cleaning with water or soap. Where's the mop? Versus, I need to mop the kitchen floor.
And wipe is the motion, like wipe the counter. And put away, crucial for tidiness.
Oh, yes. Replacing things where they belong. Put away the dishes. Put away your toys. Key phrase.
Understanding that dual function tool in action for words like vacuum or mop, that's pretty efficient, isn't it? Makes the language more concise.
It really does. It's a common pattern.
Okay, and quickly, personal care items. Shampoo, then conditioner. Deodorant, liquid soap versus a bar of soap. Washcloth for your body, towel for drying, general soap. And toothbrush, toothpaste, shaving razor. Vocabulary for staying clean and groomed.
And knowing these moves you beyond just knowing the word soap to understanding the specific tools and products for daily life, functional literacy.
Spot on. Okay, let's move to describing things. Our next section gets into quantifying, qualifying, expressing observations and feelings. Describing the world around you. Measurements, weather, and adjectives.
Right. Numbers, measurements, they seem objective. But the systems people use tell you a lot about cultural norms. Knowing both U.S. and metric systems is pretty vital for global communication these days.
Absolutely. So the U.S. units highlighted are inch, small unit, pound for weight, 16 ounces, mile for longer distances, about 1.6 kilometers, and foot, 12 inches, not the body part.
Mm-hmm. And then the metric system, used much more widely globally. Celsius for temperature 0 is freezing point for water, kilogram for weight, 1,000 grams, centimeter, small measurement, meter, 100 centimeters, kilometer for distance, liter for liquids.
And the unit for temperature itself is always degree, right? Whether it's Celsius or Fahrenheit.
Correct. And that's where context is key again. If someone says it's 20 degrees, you need to know which scale. Fahrenheit, water freezes at 32. Big difference.
Definitely need to know which system you're in. What about number themselves? The sources mention patterns.
Yeah, you've got unique words from 0 up to 20, then the pattern for tens, and the common hundreds, 100, 200, up to 900.
And they clarify things like 101 is 101, and 999 is the last one, using that 100 pattern before you hit 1,000. Plus the structure of two-digit numbers like 21, 33, up to 99.
It's about seeing those repeating structures in the number system. Okay, let's talk weather.
Always a safe topic. We get the weather report from the news. Temperature is how hot or cold it is using Celsius or Fahrenheit.
And the conditions, humid, sticky, lots of water in the air, windy, pretty self-explanatory, fog, like low clouds, hard to see.
Hail, ice falling from the sky. Ouch. A thunderstorm involves rain, clouds, and that key distinction. Thunder is the sound.
And lightning is the light.
Yeah.
You also have ice, frozen water on surfaces, and snow, frozen water falling from the sky.
And general descriptions. Cold versus hot. Cool, which is pleasantly not cold. Sunny, rainy, cloudy. Basic but essential. Now, adjectives. This is where nuances get really interesting.
Oh, definitely. And the sources highlight a really common point of confusion, especially with feelings. Let's start simple. Interesting sparks curiosity. Mean is unkind.
Okay. But then we get into pairs like bored and boring. This is that ing versus id thing, right?
Exactly. This is a huge aha moment. The ing form describes the thing causing the feeling. The in form describes the feeling you have.
So a movie is boring because it causes boredom.
And you feel bored while watching it.
Right. Same for scary and scared.
Yep. A dark street is scary. It causes fear, and you feel scared walking down it. A massage is relaxing. It causes relaxation, and you feel relaxed after it.
And exciting versus excited. Got it. That pattern unlocks a lot.
It really does. Makes communication much more precise.
Okay, other adjectives. Cheap versus expensive for price. Kind means nice. Fair, often used for costs, meaning reasonable. Disgusting, really awful.
Common emotions. Happy, sad, angry. Basic descriptions. Low versus high. Funny makes you laugh. Pretty versus ugly for appearance. Easy versus difficult.
Near versus far. Small with big as the implied opposite. Weak versus strong. Clean versus dirty.
Busy, having lots to do. Serious can be a topic or a person. Tired, lacking energy. Important, needs attention.
And colors. Blue, yellow, orange, red, green, white, black, brown, gray. The absolute basics for describing anything visual.
These adjectives are the building blocks for adding detail and emotion to your descriptions. Understanding those subtle pairs, like boring, is key.
Moving right along, let's get personal. Vocabulary for ourselves, our health, people, and food. Section 4, the human body, health, people, and food.
Crucial stuff. Knowing how to talk about your body, health issues, it's vital for well-being, for getting help, just for explaining how you are.
Makes sense. So body parts. The body itself. Head, neck, face, which includes eyes, nose, mouth, cheeks. Ear for hearing, hair, eye for seeing. Teeth, that's plural for tooth.
Right. Lip, nose, hand, arm. Foot at the bottom of the leg. Finger, back, the reverse side. Stomach for digestion. Chest, upper front. Basic anatomy.
Now, ailments. The sources make a really important distinction between illness and injury.
Yes, this is key. An illness is typically a sickness, maybe from germs, something internal, like a minor illness, a cold. An injury is usually from an accident, something external happening to the body, a knee injury, for example.
Different causes. That's helpful when talking to a doctor. Specific pains, headache, stomach ache. A symptom is a clue, like a fever or runny nose. A cold is a common minor illness with those symptoms.
And fever itself means your body temperature is higher than normal. Pain is the noun, the feeling. Hurt is the verb experiencing or causing pain.
And medicine is what you take to feel better or reduce pain.
Being precise here is just so important. It helps people understand exactly what's going on with you.
Okay, shifting gears to something universal. Food and the people around us. A meal is like breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Fast food, quick, convenient, maybe not the healthiest.
Right. Categories like fruit and vegetable, generally seen as healthy. Common staples. Rice, bread, egg, noodle, or usually noodles, plural, often in soup or pasta.
Meats. Beef from cows. Chicken, the animal and the meat. Pork from pigs. Fish from water. Lamb from young sheep.
Specific fruits mentioned. Tomato, yes, technically a fruit. Strawberry, cherry, peach, orange, banana, apple, grape, watermelon, big green outside, pink inside.
Vegetables. Spinach, cucumber, bell pepper, those green, red, yellow ones. Broccoli, carrot, onion, the tearjerker. Lettuce, potato.
And drinks. Basic water, tea, hot or cold, coffee, adult drinks like beer and wine, cocoa, hot chocolate, soft drink, basically any non-alcoholic fizzy drink usually, and juice from fruits or veggies.
Having all this food vocabulary makes talking about meals, preferences, diets much richer, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It connects to culture, health, daily routines. Okay, what about people?
Basic identities. Woman, man, girl, boy, baby, tiny human, child, not an adult yet. Adult, grown up, responsible. Relationships, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, romantic partners usually.
And jobs, professions. The sources note waiter, male, and waitress, female, for restaurant staff.
Though server is becoming more common and neutral now, right?
Often, yes. Other roles. Designer, artist, soldier, entrepreneur, someone starting businesses, often with new ideas. Farmer, secretary, office assistant, banker, writer, construction worker.
Homemaker, someone focusing on home and family care. Student, doctor, police officer, teacher, employee who works for a company, engineer, programmer, and a cook versus a chef.
Ah, yes, that distinction again. Cook makes food. A chef usually implies professional training, often in charge of a kitchen. It's a subtle status difference conveyed by the word.
Good point. And in the workplace hierarchy, manager oversees others, boss the person in charge, superior is anyone above you. Knowing these helps navigate work situations.
Definitely. This whole range of terms for people, food, health, it makes daily interactions and talking about your life much more specific and relatable.
Okay, next up, daily life and leisure. Objects, learning, and entertainment. Exploring the words for things we use, how we learn, and how we have fun.
And again, notice how many objects have implied actions. A remote control is for controlling things remotely. The function is embedded.
Right. Okay, everyday objects. Alarm clock wakes you up. Remote control, shopping cart at the supermarket, plastic bag, or just bag. Menu for choices, wallet for money cards, purse, usually a woman's bag. Key for unlocking, driver's license to prove you can drive.
Learning tools. Notebook, pencil, needs sharpening, or mechanical pencil, click for lead. Pen uses ink. Eraser, Ruler for measuring or drawing straight lines.
Marker for writing on a whiteboard, which is white and erasable, as opposed to a blackboard, which is black and uses chalk. Dictionary for meanings. Textbook for studying.
Office machines. Computer covers laptops, desktops, even smartphones now. The older fax machine for sending copies over phone lines. Printer for hard copies. Copy machine for making duplicates. These really track technological change.
They do. And remembering that point about implied actions, a ruler is for ruling lines, a printer for printing. The name often tells the story.
Exactly.
This leads us into learning and entertainment. Academics. Places, school or classroom. Person, student. Subjects.
Core subjects listed. Politics, government, biology, living things, chemistry, reactions, physics, matter, energy, space, time, economics, money, trade, computer science, math, history, geography, foundations of knowledge.
And for fun, leisure time, media and art forms, TV show episodic versus movie, video game, audiobook, listening to a book, magazine periodic collection, and novel, long, complex story versus short story, brief, quick read.
Right. Art is the broad category: music, painting, sculpture, etc. Literature focuses on written works, often implying quality or study.
Performance and media, radio, television, internet, newspaper, print news, news channel, TV news. Creating music requires a musical instrument. Visual art includes painting. You watch things at a theater, could be movies or live plays.
And within live theater, a musical uses singing to tell the story. An opera is a more traditional classical form with a very specific singing style. Comedy is making people laugh, or a genre of film show.
Activities. Jogging, light running, exercise, general term for working out, sports examples, soccer, which is what Americans call football.
Which can definitely cause confusion internationally. Also, tennis and basketball, vocabulary for how we spend our free time.
We've covered so much ground. From physical objects to entertainment, let's wrap things up by looking at more abstract concepts. Work, social life, time itself.
Yes, this final section covers the vocabulary for the structures and milestones that shape our lives. Work, society, time.
Okay, work in business. A company is where you work. Your salary is your pay. Your job is what you do. Coworkers are colleagues. A meeting is for discussion, negotiation, trying to reach an agreement. A contract makes it official and written.
Business can mean a specific company or the whole professional world. Deal is a more informal word for an agreement. And industry is the category of work tech, finance, etc.
Social and life milestones. We celebrate a birthday, a graduation marks finishing studies. A wedding is the ceremony for partnership. An anniversary celebrates a significant past date. And a funeral remembers someone who died.
And promotion, that interesting one. Moving up at work, or it can mean advertising. Context is everything again. Having words for these big life events helps you participate fully, socially, and professionally.
Definitely. Okay, finally, time and basic communication. Units of time, second, minute, hour, basic blocks.
Days, today, yesterday, tomorrow. A week is 7 days, the days themselves. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, silent D, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Months and years. A year is 365 days. Months run January through December. Time-telling tools, clock, using a clock for specific hours like 9 o'clock, and a calendar to track dates.
Basic communication tools, email, cellular phone or cell phone, text message or just text, telephone. Information is just anything learned, photograph or picture, document, paperwork, a record.
Verbs for interaction. The sources point out some nice distinctions. Say versus talk.
Right. Say is often just reporting speech. Talk implies a back and forth conversation.
Search versus hear.
Search is the action of looking. Find is the successful result.
Listen versus hear.
Listen is active focus. Hear is passive reception of sound.
Do versus make.
Do
is often about activities or tasks. Make is more about creating or producing something.
Open and close can be physical actions or about business hours.
Exactly. Those subtle verb differences are crucial for sounding natural. Other key verbs. Give, receive, take, call, on the phone, ask for info, explain, describe, answer, replay solution. Simple state-feeling verbs. Canability, feel, draw, plan, verb or noun, rest, want.
And basic politeness. Hello, excuse me, I'm sorry, good night, nice to meet you, how are you? Yes, no, thank you, I'm goodbye. Essential social glue.
Opposites like bad versus good, and directions. West, north, south, east. Plus left versus right and front versus back.
Phew, that covers a huge amount of foundational language.
Wow. It really does. We've gone from, the park down the street to abstract concepts like negotiations and time itself. It shows how every single word, with its own little details, its nuances, builds up our understanding of daily English.
That's exactly it. Real understanding, it isn't just ticking words off a list. It's about getting the context, seeing those small but important distinctions, how words relate to each other. That's what gives you the confidence, the precision to communicate well. Which leads to a question for you, the listener. Now that you've thought about these foundational words, these nuances, how will this deeper understanding encourage you to maybe tackle more complex topics or engage in, richer conversations in English?
That's the challenge, isn't it? And the exciting part. We really hope you'll start listening out for these words in your day-to-day life. Notice how people use them, the context.
Yeah.
And definitely celebrate your own progress in becoming more well-informed, more articulate.
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into everyday English.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you for the next one.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the show where we take that pile of articles, research, notes you've got, and we try to distill it all down into the most important nuggets of knowledge. Think of it as your shortcut, maybe, to being truly well-informed. Hopefully with some surprising facts, maybe a little humor, just enough to keep you hooked. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into something, truly foundational. Our source material isn't some complex report on, quantum physics or a dusty historical archive. Instead, it's this incredibly comprehensive collection of fundamental English words and phrases. And our mission, if you choose to accept it, is basically to show you how even the most basic vocabulary can unlock some surprising insights, sharpen your perception, and give you a powerful edge, really, in understanding the world around you.
Yeah, what's truly compelling here is that, these might seem like simple words, right? But when you really delve into their nuances and how they connect, they form the very fabric of our daily lives, our professional interactions, how we interpret reality. It's a deep dive, like you said, not just into language itself, but into that foundational understanding that kind of empowers you to grasp any topic. Doesn't matter how complex it seems.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're looking to gain knowledge quickly, maybe understand multiple perspectives and hit those genuine aha moments without feeling, overwhelmed, you're in precisely the right place. Let's unpack this fascinating linguistic landscape and see what hidden depths we can find in the words we use every single day. Okay, let's kick things off where, many of us spend a good chunk of our lives. The world of business, how we make a living. Our sources give us a pretty rich set of words here, things like contract, business, deal, order, salary, wage, bonus, company, office, employee, superior, director, president, sale, and even specific departments like IT department or marketing. Now, these aren't just labels, are they?
Oh, far from it. No. This vocabulary, it forms the very skeleton of an organization. It dictates structure, relationships, even individual motivations. Think about the distinction between a salary and a wage, for example. A salary often implies, a consistent annual figure. It doesn't really matter how many hours you work. It focuses more on output or responsibility.
Right.
Whereas a wage, that's typically hourly, right? Directly tied to the time you spend. And then you've got a bonus, which is often performance-based, maybe discretionary. So understanding these isn't just knowing definitions. It's about understanding different incentive structures, what they signal about a company's values or how they view their employees.
That's a great point, yeah. It makes me think about how, a deal might be struck verbally versus being formalized with a contract. One feels kind of like a handshake, the other is legally binding. Right?
Exactly. Big difference.
So what about that hierarchy you mentioned? We see superior, director, president. How does knowing those specific words help you navigate that complexity?
Well, that's where the real insight lies, I think.
Yeah.
A superior usually denotes a direct reporting line. It implies immediate oversight, operational tasks, that sort of thing.
Okay.
A director often holds a more strategic role, maybe overseeing a whole department or function, setting broader goals, perhaps. And the president, they typically lead the entire company, focusing on the overall vision, financial performance. So knowing this hierarchy isn't just about who you report to. It's about understanding the different levels of decision-making power, the scope of influence, even who to approach with different types of issues or ideas. It helps you effectively negotiate or submit a document to the right person to make sure it actually has the intended impact.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's like knowing the rules of the game just by recognizing the players. Now, Expanding beyond individual roles, departments, our sources also define entire sectors, economic processes. We have words like industry, factory, output, workforce, agriculture, material, machine, electricity, coal, gas, textile, and then on that broader economic scale, export and import. How do these words paint a clearer picture of global economics for you, the listener?
Well, it's pretty remarkable how these terms instantly connect you to global supply chains, economic cycles. Think about the word output. It's not just a number, is it? It's the tangible result of a factory transforming raw material using machines and electricity, maybe fueled by resources like coal or gas.
Right, the whole process.
Exactly. And when a country exports, say, textile or an agricultural product, it tells you something about their economic strengths, their workforce capabilities, how they fit into the global industry. Conversely, import signals what they need from elsewhere. So grasping these simple words allows you to read a headline about global trade and instantly understand its underlying mechanisms, its potential impact.
It's fascinating how just a few fundamental words can unlock an entire economic landscape like that. Now let's switch gears a bit. How about how we get and share information in this modern age? I mean, a realm that's just utterly transformed over the past few decades. Our sources cover the whole gamut: radio, print, magazine, newspaper publisher, news, information, TV station, internet, channel, media, broadcast.
Yeah, the sheer breadth there, from traditional radio to the, well, ubiquitous worldwide internet, it's quite remarkable. The word media itself is crucial here, isn't it? It kind of encompasses all these different channels. Understanding that information is broadcast doesn't just mean it's sent out. It implies that one-to-many dissemination. And the shift from, say, a newspaper to the internet as the primary news source, well, that changes everything, from immediacy to interactivity. So for you, the listener, recognizing these different channels helps you critically evaluate where information is coming from, how it might be shaped by its medium. Is it a well-researched magazine article, or is it some viral internet broadcast? The words themselves guide your interpretation.
And then there's personal communication, right? And all the incredible tech that enables it. We've got telephone, cellular phone, email, text, Wi-Fi, laptop computer, mouse, keyboard, headphones, webcam, microphone. We even have specifics listed like iPhone, blog, social networking site, and search engine. How has this particular vocabulary not just changed how we communicate, but maybe even how we think?
That raises a really profound question. Consider the text message versus an email. A text implies brevity, immediacy, often a much more informal tone, right? Definitely. An email, though, suggests a more formal, structured communication. It's capable of attaching documents and things. Understanding these nuances in their usage, it just means you send the right message on the right channel with the right expectations.
Right. You wouldn't text your boss a formal proposal.
Exactly. And words like Wi-Fi or search engine, they're no longer just technical terms, are they? They describe these fundamental access points to knowledge, to connectivity. Being able to edit video on a computer or a TV program isn't just a skill anymore. It's a form of digital literacy, really, enabled by understanding these component words. The precise language allows you to navigate and shape your digital world. Everything from typing a text message to surfing the internet.
That's a powerful way to put it, digital literacy through vocabulary. Okay, shifting from the tangible and digital to the deeply personal, our sources provide a whole spectrum of human feelings, characteristics. We've got words like happy, sad, angry, tired, bored, excited, nervous, embarrassed, satisfied, dissatisfied, calm, relaxed, anxious, lonely, scared, upset, proud. Quite a list.
Oh, definitely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these words are truly crucial. For empathy, yes, but also for self-awareness. Take anxious versus nervous, for instance.
Okay, yeah. People use those interchangeably sometimes.
They do, but while they're often used that way, anxious typically implies a more persistent kind of generalized worry about the future, a state of unease. Nervous, on the other hand, it tends to be a more acute, immediate response to a specific event, like, before a presentation.
Ah, I see the difference.
Yeah. Understanding that distinction allows you to more accurately articulate your own state, maybe, and perhaps even offer more targeted support to someone else who's feeling upset or scared. It's about precision, really. Precision and emotional intelligence.
That's a brilliant distinction. Yeah, it highlights how choosing the right word can refine understanding for both the speaker and the listener. And then there's this rich vocabulary for describing people and things. Good, bad, beautiful, ugly, funny, difficult, easy, strong, weak, cheap, expensive, kind, mean, interesting, boring, polite, strict, outstanding, clever, energetic, honest, sly, warm. Wow, there's so much nuance packed into these.
Indeed. And the fascinating part here is how these words actively shape our perceptions, our social interactions. An energetic person, for example, might put forward objections with real gusto during a discussion, right? While a polite person might still disagree but express it far more subtly, or consider clever versus sly. Both suggest intelligence.
Right, but different flavors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clever often has positive connotations, ingenuity maybe, while sly implies something more manipulative, deceptive, cunning perhaps. This vocabulary helps you understand those subtle ways people express themselves, whether it's interpreting a humorous cartoon in the newspaper or trying to gauge the character of a serious person in a meeting. It's how we categorize and relate to the world and to each other.
Absolutely. The descriptive power is just immense. Okay, let's move now to the physical world, the rhythms of our daily lives. First, the most fundamental time. We have day, week, month, year, morning, noon, evening, night, AM, PM, o'clock, quarter to half past, holiday, yesterday, today, tomorrow. January through December, and even down to seconds and minutes.
These seem so basic, don't they? But they form the invisible framework upon which our lives are built. Beyond simply telling what time it is now, they allow you to, say, plan a holiday far in advance or understand the duration of an event.
Yep.
And crucially, this category also includes numbers, from 0 all the way up to trillion, and ordinals like first to 10th. Understanding a trillion isn't just knowing a large number. It allows you to actually comprehend the scale of national debt or global economies or astronomical distances. These words are really the bedrock of quantification in, well, every single context.
So it's about structuring our reality, basically, whether it's our personal schedule or the global economy. Okay. Next, let's talk about how we clothe ourselves, care for our bodies. We have this huge list covering everything from a scarf to jeans, a dress to a suit, accessories too, like wristwatch, eyeglasses, sunglasses, necklace, ring. Also, makeup, lipstick, eyeliner, and self-care items like shampoo, conditioner, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap.
What's truly fascinating here is the level of detail this vocabulary provides. It allows for really precise description. You can differentiate between long-sleeved and short-sleeved clothing, for instance, or discuss whether a button or a zipper secures an item. You can describe the size and style of clothing. Is it fashionable or loose? Tight or neat? This language helps you express personal style, make purchases, even, describe a suspect's attire in detail.
Practical stuff.
Very practical. And of course, it covers essential hygiene. From the universal act of washing your hands before dinner to the more specific ritual of brushing your teeth. These are the fundamental actions of daily self-care, articulated.
It's incredible how much practical utility is packed into these seemingly simple terms. Okay, finally, let's explore our living spaces. Window, door, bed, chair, table, kitchen, bathroom, living room, dining room, balcony, backyard. Plus, appliances like refrigerator, microwave oven, washing machine, vacuum cleaner, fan, air conditioner, stove, oven, hairdryer.
Right. This set of words defines your most immediate environment, doesn't it? Your home or your apartment house. And they're not just nouns, they imply actions and functions. A kitchen isn't just a room.
It's where you cook.
Exactly. A bed is for sleeping. A washing machine is for laundry. A vacuum cleaner for cleaning the carpet or sweeping the floor. These words are the foundation for discussing everyday domestic life, maintenance, comfort. Doesn't matter if you live in the city or the country. From dusting furniture to taking out the garbage, they give shape to our personal sanctuary.
What an incredible journey, really, through what might, at first glance, seem like just a simple list of words. But as we've unpacked it, we've seen how this fundamental vocabulary forms the very bedrock of our understanding. From negotiating a business deal to simply boiling water, from understanding angry managers to, envisioning swimming with dolphins, every word carries a weight, a world of meaning.
Indeed it does, and knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied, right? You truly can't grasp a concept without the words to define its nuances, its connections. There's always more to learn, of course, in consciously building your vocabulary. Well, it allows you to connect diverse information, spot subtle patterns, and ultimately grasp the bigger picture with far greater precision.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Well, it means that every single word, whether it describes a black overcoat, a salty appetizer, or a severe thunderstorm, it's a powerful tool. It's a building block for communicating clearly, for absorbing new information quickly, and for having those genuine aha moments that make you feel truly well-informed, not just on the surface, but deeply.
Absolutely. And for your final provocative thought today, consider this. How much more detailed could your understanding of, say, the whole industry you work in or even your own body become? just by actively noticing and integrating a handful of new specific words into your daily discussion. Could mastering the vocabulary of emotions, like really understanding the distinct difference between feeling anxious versus feeling nervous, could that truly change your relationships, how you manage your own feelings? Or maybe might understanding the intricate dance of export and import transform your view of the economy beyond just a simple headline? It's a foundational deep dive, this vocabulary building, and it never truly ends. It's constantly refining your lens on the world.
Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're plunging into something incredibly practical and really powerful. How choosing just the right word, it can absolutely transform your communication, your understanding even.
Yeah.
If you've ever felt, stuck using the same old words, or maybe you just want to articulate complex ideas with a bit more precision, this deep dive is kind of a shortcut. You'll sound more sophisticated, more impactful.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because what we're about to explore isn't just about showing off vocabulary. It's really about mastering the art of expression itself.
And what's fascinating here is that often the biggest impact comes from these, tiny adjustments.
Right.
Swapping out a really common word for something more precise, maybe more formal, it can totally change how your message lands. A broad vocabulary isn't just for display.
No.
It's about nuance, precision, making a strong, clear impression. And this deep dive, it'll show you how accessible those richer linguistic tools actually are.
Exactly. So whether you're, say, prepping for a big presentation, writing a really crucial email, or you just have this, insatiable curiosity about language, stick with us.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission today is simple. Equip you with specific, actionable synonyms. We've got about 40 common words and phrases pulled straight from some great source material.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And we're not just giving you a list, right? We're exploring how these words actually enhance meaning, how they fit the context. We've got memorable examples, practical uses.
Yeah, hopefully some real aha moments in there.
That's the goal, because this deep dive, it's tailor-made to give you those precise linguistic tools, whatever your aim is.
Okay.
Right, so to make this super useful, we've grouped these, let's call them linguistic upgrades, into sort of thematic categories. Let's start with words that can, dramatically elevate your everyday communication.
Okay, sounds good. First one up, a word pretty much everyone overuses. Say.
Oh, say. Yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it? So versatile. But you're right, use it too much, and your language feels a bit
flat, exactly.
Yeah.
Repetitive.
So what does our source material suggest instead?
Well, say is neutral. Totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But an excellent alternative, one that adds this subtle layer of assertion, is claim.
Okay, claim.
Yeah. So instead of the economist said that prices would rise, you could use the economist claim that prices would rise. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Claim doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it. It just attributes the assertion. It kind of subtly invites you, the listener, to think about whether it's true, what the basis is.
Ah, okay. Yeah. That's really useful for objective reporting, or when you're presenting information you haven't verified yourself.
Precisely. Very powerful in that context.
Okay. And what about talk about? That's another one I hear constantly.
Yeah, talk about. Perfectly good for general subjects. But if you want something a little more formal, maybe more focused, discuss is a perfect substitute.
Right.
So the professor talked about going to law school becomes the professor discussed going to law school.
Ah, okay. I hear that.
Discuss implies something a bit more structured, deeper engagement with a topic, not just a casual mention.
It signals a more deliberate conversation.
Yeah.
I get that. Now, what about when someone's offering advice? We often use recommend. Is there something with more punch?
Definitely. For recommend, a very strong alternative is advocate.
Advocate.
Yeah. The key difference here is that advocate usually implies active, often public support for an idea or a policy or a course of action. It's not just a quiet suggestion.
Ah, so it's stronger.
Much stronger. It's a word packed with conviction. So the teacher recommends studying could become the teacher advocate studying. It communicates a much stronger belief in that action.
Advocate definitely lands harder.
Yeah.
And when you're making something clear, instead of explain about.
Right. Explain about. You can often just use clarify.
Clarified.
So if you have, my mother explained about our family's history, you could say, my mother clarified our family's history. Clarified sort of implies that maybe the topic was unclear or confusing before, and now it's been made really understandable. It focuses on the outcome of the explanation. Often suggests a misunderstanding's been fixed.
Yeah, I can see how that adds precision. It focuses on the clarity achieved. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How about words that refine how we describe actions and intentions?
Okay. A word that pops up a lot is give.
It really does.
Yeah.
Give is so basic, so straightforward. What can we use for a bit more nuance?
Well, give works fine in most cases, but for a more polite or maybe formal option, offer is excellent.
Offer?
Yeah. My sister gave me her bike.
Yeah.
My sister offered me her bike. The subtle thing here is give means the transfer definitely happened. Offer. Well, doesn't necessarily mean it was accepted, right?
Yeah.
Unless you say so. Right? So it's more diplomatic, maybe.
Yeah.
A versatile way to express an intention or make something available.
That's a really useful distinction. And ask, super, super common.
For ask, a great paraphrase, a bit more formal, is inquire. So, tourists often ask about famous places in my town. Easily shifts to, tourists often inquire about famous places in my town.
Okay.
Inquire just elevates the tone. It suggests a more formal, perhaps a more deliberate request for information. You hear it more in professional settings, official contexts.
That's a pretty seamless upgrade. Feels natural. How about when you want to try something?
Yes, attempt is a perfect paraphrase for try.
Well, attempt.
I want to try skiing can be changed quite easily to I want to attempt skiing. Attempt often implies a bit more effort. Maybe there's a challenge involved. It suggests a stronger resolve to do something, even if success isn't, guaranteed. Adds a sense of determination.
I like that. It injects a bit more commitment into it. What about describing how something sounds? Like, it sounds like you really want to challenge.
Right. For sound, in that specific context where it basically means seem or give the impression of, you can use appear. Yeah. It sounds like you really want to challenge becomes, it appears like you really want to challenge. Appear is just a bit more formal. It conveys that the conclusion is drawn from what you can see, the outward perception, the available evidence.
That's a really straightforward swap. Nice. Okay, let's turn our attention now to words that can help you describe people, places, lifestyles, maybe with a bit more specificity, more depth.
Okay, and the word people itself, we all use it constantly. How can we make that more precise?
Right, like many people in my town ride bicycles. How could we elevate that slightly?
Well, for people, you could consider individuals.
Individuals.
People is perfectly fine, of course, but individuals refers to each distinct person within a group. So many individuals in my town ride bicycles. Just sounds a touch more formal, maybe more precise. It's particularly useful when you're talking about statistics or demographics or actions related to members of a group, but on a one-by-one basis.
That instantly sounds more analytical. Yeah. And sticking with groups, what about family? Is there an alternative there?
Yes, household.
Household.
Household specifically refers to everyone who lives in the same house and functions as a single economic or domestic unit. So, my family includes my parents, brother, and grandmother. Could be rephrased as, my household includes my parents, brother, and grandmother.
Okay.
It's just a more precise term when the context is specifically about shared living arrangements or resources.
Household definitely has a more specific, almost technical ring to it. How about the simple act of live? Like where you live?
For live, especially when you're talking about where you permanently reside is a more formal alternative.
Reside.
So I live in a small apartment. Could become, I reside in a small apartment.
Right.
It's just an easy way to elevate your language, maybe in formal introductions or unofficial documents.
Simple enough. And if you're talking about your town,
you could change town to community.
Community.
Now, community can sometimes refer to just a smaller part of a town, sure.
Yeah.
But it also evokes this sense of shared identity, collective spirit, belonging for the whole place. So I live in a small town in the north of Maryland. Could become, I live in a small community in the north of Maryland. It adds this dimension of shared experience connection.
It does. It adds a warmer sort of relational feel. Okay, but what if it's a really big town, like a city?
For city, especially a really large, bustling one, you can use metropolis.
Metropolis, I like that word.
Yeah. So the environment next to a city can become very polluted, transforms into. The environment next to a metropolis can become very polluted.
Okay.
Metropolis really emphasizes the scale, the complexity, often the importance of a major urban center. Just one little note, the plural is metropolises.
Not metropolis.
Not metropolisy. Good to remember.
Good to know. Okay. And what about something you do for fun, like a hobby?
Hobby can often be replaced by pastime.
Pastime.
Which is simply something you do to pass the time pleasantly. My favorite hobby is reading books. easily becomes my favorite pastime is reading books. It's pretty neutral, maybe slightly more formal way to refer to leisure activities.
So simple, but yeah, effective. Okay, let's move on. How about words that describe qualities, intensities, or quantities? How can we refine those?
Well, speaking of easy, that's another word we use all the time.
It certainly is. What an easy way to show off your vocabulary. What's a good substitute there?
Easy can often be paraphrased with simple.
Simple.
So,
Yeah.
what an easy way to show off your vocabulary becomes what a simple way to show off your vocabulary. Simple really highlights the lack of complexity, makes the task seem straightforward, easy to understand or do.
Right.
Just be mindful, like you did there with articles. An easy way becomes a simple way.
Good point about the articles.
Right.
And following that, what if you're giving a tip?
For tip, try recommendation.
Recommendation.
My tip is to pay attention to all the words. Transforms into my recommendation is to pay attention to all the words. Recommendation elevates that advice. It's not just a casual hint anymore. It's a more formal suggestion. Often implies it's based on expertise or study or careful thought. Gives the advice more weight.
Absolutely. Yeah, weight matters there. Okay. When describing something famous, is there a more nuanced word we could use?
Yes. Instead of just famous, you could use prominent.
Prominent.
One famous landmark is a statue of Isaac Newton. Can be changed to one prominent landmark is a statue of Isaac Newton.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, prominent means something important, noteworthy, easily recognizable, but maybe within its specific context. It might not be universally famous like, say, the Eiffel Tower, but it holds significant local importance or specialized importance.
That's a great distinction. Okay. What if something is perfect?
Perfect can often be replaced with ideal.
Ideal.
That is a perfect way to boost your score.
Yeah.
Becomes that is an ideal way to boost your score. Ideal suggests, the best possible or most suitable scenario for a particular purpose. It represents a high standard to aim for. It's a very easy swap, actually.
Yeah, that flows nicely. And now the ultimate overused words. Very and really. We hear these everywhere.
Oh, constantly. If you find yourself using very or really a lot, consider swapping them out for extremely.
Extremely.
So paraphrasing is a very good way to boost your score, or paraphrasing is a really good way to boost your score. Both can become, like paraphrasing is an extremely good way to boost your score.
Right.
Extremely just works as a more formal, maybe more powerful intensifier. Again, just watch those articles. Like a very good way might become an extremely good way.
It suddenly sounds more impactful. Okay. Now the simple word large.
Yeah, large gets used a lot. A great substitute, especially when you're describing something important or notable because of its implications, is significant.
Significant.
So there's a large difference in profits between 2010 and 2014. There's a significant difference in profits between 2010 and 2014. Significant elevates it. It highlights the importance or the impact of that difference, not just its physical size.
And if the difference isn't large, if it's small.
For small, you can often use minor. There was a small decrease in the polar bear population in 2020. There was a minor decrease in the polar bear population in 2020. Minor implies less importance, maybe less severity, less impact. It's often used to kind of downplay something or distinguish it from something major.
It's a minor change to the sentence itself, isn't it?
Exactly, but it signals a more refined vocabulary.
I love how these little swaps just build up. Speaking of building up, let's explore words useful for describing data, trends, analytical observations, that kind of thing.
Okay, about has a couple of different uses, doesn't it?
It does. When about means something isn't exact, but it's close, like you often see in data reporting, approximately is a fantastic paraphrase.
Approximately.
The percentage of sales increased to about 45 in 1998 becomes the percentage of sales increased to approximately 45 in 1998.
Right.
Approximately clearly signals that the number is an estimate. It's not precise, which is, well, crucial for communicating data accurately.
Very useful for charts, graphs, that kind of thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how about when numbers go up or go down? Basic stuff, but important.
Essential.
Instead of go up, use increase.
Increase.
The price of gasoline went up last year, becomes the price of gasoline increased last year. And obviously the opposite. For go down, use decrease.
Decrease.
The value of the dollar went down, becomes the value of the dollar decreased. These are just the formal, precise terms you need for describing quantitative changes, trends in any report or presentation.
Absolutely essential for analytical descriptions.
Okay.
What about when a trend doesn't just go up, but it speeds up?
When a trend speeds up, you could say it escalates.
Escalate.
So deforestation in the Amazon has sped up over the past 15 years. Could be rephrased as deforestation in the Amazon has escalated over the past 15 years.
Okay.
Escalates implies a rapid, often intensifying increase. Scale, severity, momentum, it captures that acceleration.
And the very highest point on a graph, is there a specific word for that?
Yes, that's called the apex. So the population rose after 1980 to the highest point of 10,000 people in 2000.
Yeah.
That can be significantly improved. The population rose after 1980 to the apex of 10,000 people in 2000.
Wow.
Apex signifies the peak, the zenith, the culminating point of that trend or development.
Apex is quite evocative. I like that. What if a trend stays the same for a long time?
For a long time, you can use extended period.
Extended period.
For a long time, the population remains stable becomes, for an extended period, the population remains stable. Just adds a touch of formality, a bit more precision when you're talking about duration.
And shifting from duration, what about the word mostly?
Mostly can often be replaced by predominantly.
Predominant.
People in my country mostly speak Spanish can become people in my country predominantly speak Spanish. Predominantly indicates the largest or most common element or influence or characteristic. It makes your description sound more precise, more analytical.
Yeah.
Do you hear how just changing that one word signals a more maybe authoritative understanding?
It's incredible, isn't it, how much impact one single word can have? Okay, let's talk about change itself. Word change.
Right. Change can often be replaced with alter.
Alter.
The percentage of workers in the technology fields change over time. Could be the percentage of workers in the technology fields altered over time. Alter often implies a modification, maybe something subtle or partial, rather than a complete transformation. It gives you a nuanced way to describe adjustments.
Okay, that's useful. Right, finally, let's dive into words that help you link ideas, express opinions, manage frequency, the sort of connecting tissue of language.
Sounds good. How about a lot? Probably one of the most common phrases out there.
You're absolutely right. It's ubiquitous. I practice English a lot. How can we refine that?
You could replace a lot with frequently.
Frequently.
It just means often.
Yeah.
But it instantly makes your language sound a bit more sophisticated, more precise, especially when you're describing actions that happen again and again. I practice English frequently.
Simple swap. What about when you need to provide an example? Beyond just saying, for example.
Well, for example is a fantastic linking phrase. Nothing wrong with it. But you can diversify by using to illustrate.
To illustrate?
It means the same thing, basically, but adds variety. Especially useful if you're giving more than one example, or maybe when you want to emphasize that the example really serves to clarify your point.
Okay.
So, I love to read books. For example, I just finished a French novel. Could become, I love to read books. To illustrate, I just finished a French novel.
It's a nice smooth transition. What if you need an extra example, something more?
Extra can be very effectively replaced with additional.
Additional.
It's easy to remember because add means to put more on, right?
Right.
So, do you have an extra example to support your view? Becomes, do you have an additional example to support your view? Additional is just a more formal, more precise term for something that's added to what's already there.
Makes sense. And what expressing an opinion instead of always leaning on, I think.
Yes. A great paraphrase for I think is I presume.
I presume.
This means you think something is true, but maybe you're not absolutely positive. You're making an informed guess based on reasonable evidence or probability. It's a bit like, I guess, but definitely more formal.
Okay.
So I think most people from my country travel a lot. Could be, I presume most people from my country travel a lot. Using presume helps convey a more thoughtful, reasoned kind of inference.
That's subtle, but yeah, powerful. What about think about? Slightly different.
Right. If think about means you're using your mind to look at a subject, or maybe considering different options before you decide something, then consider is the perfect substitute.
Consider.
I am thinking about moving to Australia becomes I am considering moving to Australia. Consider implies active deliberation, weighing pros and cons. A more focused mental engagement with a choice or a topic, definitely consider using that word.
Okay, noted. Moving on to possibilities. What about maybe?
Maybe can easily be replaced with possibly, just to vary your vocabulary. Maybe the government will create a new policy. Works just as well as possibly the government will create a new policy. Possibly is perhaps a touch more formal, maybe slightly more definite way to express potential or chance.
Okay. Now back to about, but used differently when it's used to discuss a topic, like a question about.
For that specific use, try regarding.
Regard, yeah.
I have a question about the lecture becomes I have a question regarding the lecture. Regarding signals a very formal, very precise introduction to a topic of discussion or inquiry. Sounds quite professional.
It does. Okay, shifting gears slightly, how about linking words like then, showing sequence?
Then is super common, absolutely fine, but afterwards is an excellent alternative. It clearly indicates something comes later in time.
Afterwards.
I grew up in Costa Rica, then I moved to Brazil. Can easily be I grew up in Costa Rica, afterwards I moved to Brazil. It's just a bit more formal, maybe a more elegant way to show that sequence.
Nice. And the really ubiquitous one, but, showing contrast.
But, simple, effective, we all use it. However.
Nice one.
If you use it too much, you can swap it for however, or perhaps nonetheless.
Okay, however, nonetheless. Are they interchangeable?
Mostly. But there are nuances, especially in punctuation and sentence structure. Understanding this is key for clear writing. However, often acts as a conjunctive adverb. So if it connects two independent clauses, like two full sentences joined together, it usually needs a semicolon before it.
Okay, semicolon then, however.
Right, like, I like hiking, however, I only have time to hike on weekends. Or you can just start a new sentence. I like hiking, however, I only have time.
Got it. And nonetheless?
Nonetheless can often integrate a bit more smoothly, sometimes without needing to split the sentence. It acts more like an adverb modifying the whole idea before it. For instance, I like hiking. Nonetheless, I only have time on weekends. Both signal contrast, but they offer different structural choices.
That's really useful to know, the structural difference. Okay. Wow, that was a lot of words.
It was 40 alternatives.
So what does this all really mean for you listening? Well, it means you've got the power to shape your message more effectively. Make it more impactful, definitely more precise, and ultimately, more memorable. We've seen how these simple swaps, right? From say to claim, understanding the grammar behind however versus but, it elevates your communication. It lets you convey exactly what you mean, whatever the situation.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering these linguistic nuances, it's not just about superficial changes, sounding a bit smarter. It's really about gaining a deeper appreciation for just how flexible and powerful language is.
Yeah.
And how it genuinely shapes how we see things, how we understand the world around us. Knowledge is great, but it's most valuable when you understand it and actually use it.
Right. Put it into practice.
Exactly. So take these insights, these words, and start actively incorporating them. Try them out in your own speaking, your writing. Thinking critically about word choice, that's just an essential skill today with so much information flying around. It empowers you to express yourself with real authority, real clarity.
Absolutely. And here's a final thought to leave you with, building on that idea of language shaping perception. Consider this. If a single, carefully chosen word can significantly alter the impression you make, the precision of your message, how might a more consistently varied, more thoughtful vocabulary actually change the way you think about the world, the connections you make, and in turn, what you feel capable of creating, of achieving?
It's an interesting question.
Something to ponder. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and definitely keep diving deep into the truly transformative power of words.